This is going to be a very short and simple demonstration of one of the more striking differences in performance between the grinds on these two blades. So what we have here is a chisel grind, flat then convex chisel with a very light hollow, traditional flat grind, secondary bevel. Now the reason that's happening is because I'm chopping at an angle which is lower than the secondary grind on the knife. Now I'm trying to make a point. I'm not going to be chopping at a really high angle like that because I don't want the very abrupt point. I want a nice tapered point for a steak. It's difficult to do that with a knife that has a really high secondary bevel because it will glance off. What you have to do is sort of skin it out like this and gradually sort of work down. But just watch what happens with the Japanese blade. You can naturally cut straight at that very tapered angle, and the reason why is because the angle on the back is essentially zero. So if you want, you can work flat to the piece of wood almost, even at very low degrees, 0 to 5 degrees, no problem. If you try to do a 0 or 5 degree cut with this, nothing happens, because all you're hitting is this hump at the top of the secondary bevel. In order to make the knife cut at all, you have to put a knife on an angle higher than the secondary bevel, which means you have to go above 20 degrees. Now you don't notice this when you're chopping, because you never chop that low. You can't chop down here. The knife really wouldn't do anything. You want to chop it around 45 degrees, give or take a little bit, depending on the wood and a bunch of other factors. So when you're chopping, you don't notice such issues at all. The knife relatively goes into the wood. But when you're doing other things, such as making points or general carving or roughing out wood in general, sometimes you want to work at very acute angles. And the chisel grind like this, as I said, is very striking and allows you to work completely flush to the wood. And of course that has advantages for a number of other things. Fuzz sticks are a traditionally common test for woodcraft blades, and the chisel grind cuts, as I said, straight through the wood, so it can work and it can cut off extremely fine tapers, little tiny curls. Same thickness almost as a piece of paper.